feel the loss, a painful void in my heart. Threads of experience, a beginning, a start. They secure and hold me like my newfound friends. We wrap and unwrap, we share and mend. Layer by layer, my stories are wound. The more that I shared, the more healing I've found. These threads of my life are my strength to cope. Threads of pain, threads of hope.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. You'll see purple shirt people walking around. I got some of my kids here from group. April is Volunteer Appreciation Month, so that's kind of our theme this year. And oh, by the way, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Camille Jure-Snitschke, and I'm the Executive Director of the Children's Grief Center of the Great Lakes Bay Region. Yep. So, I always have a speech. Wait, it's down here, I think. It's short this year. And people, they do that. They say, "Oh, Camille, you're doing amazing," blah, blah, blah. It's not me. It isn't. I said yes. Sometimes I think foolishly, but not foolishly. I was given this opportunity by John McKelvey. Thanks, John. And I haven't looked back. And because of people like you, we've been able to do this. This has been a community effort. I have this, I think of it like my Oreo cookie. So I have like the kids in the middle, and then I got this incredible board, which right now I'd like to have my board stand up that are here. We got Jim Nigro, Angela Cole, Jeff Hurt, Carrie Grether, Sue Gentle's here, Bonnie McManus in the back, Kelly Hart, and then Missy and Eric Swinson. Where are you? You're okay, thank you. And then Elizabeth is missing this year because, she had to go to Europe and see her grandkids. Go figure. So I have this amazing board, and then I have this amazing set of volunteers. Without our volunteers, we could not do this. So for you that have either been a volunteer before or are a volunteer now, please stand up. I also have a couple amazing employees. I don't think of them as employees. They're more like my team members, Stacy Smachinsky and Hillary Baldwin. They're both amazing. I don't know where Hillary went. And then we also have some amazing interns this year, Carissa Pyre and Allie Schrader, and also Ashley Sampier is here from Davenport, and I have Helena Hill is our intern from Northwood that's going to be our intern next year for marketing and communication. So because of all those guys, that's how we do what we do. And because of my kids. So any kids that come to group and their families, please stand up. And truly, the courage and the strength that it takes to come to group and talk about your person that died. Our society's reaction to grief, first thing is to deny it, and the last thing we want to do is talk about it. I had somebody tell me one time, when you're an exec director, don't cry at the podium. I was like, sorry, I have no idea what's going to happen. That's part of the deal. And my kids teach me it's okay to cry, and we teach them it's okay to cry. There was a great article this last week in the Midland Daily News, Mark Enzer, and he talked about, one thing it said in there that he gets trained as a grief counselor. That's actually not true. What we get trained in is how to listen. We refer people to the community, to great counselors and professionals in the area, and we want them to help the kids. But we create what's called peer support. Our mission is we create a healing environment through peer support for children, teens, and their families who are grieving a death. So what that basically means is that somebody comes to group and they share their story, and that's what helps. It's their peers. Their peers in that circle then get to heal as a result of hearing that other kid's story. And then they know they're not alone, and then they know that there's somebody else that knows how they feel. And I can't do that for them. It's the kids that come, and it's the adults that come to group. So one of the things we do, we start out, is I gotta keep my time, okay, I'm doing good, is we do a little meditation. I do a meditation at my board meeting, we do a meditation at our volunteer when we start, and we do candle lighting ceremonies at group when it's like the anniversary of somebody's death, a special person in our circle, or if there's something special that they want to honor. So you guys all have a little candle at your table. So last year we wrote names on them, but we decided we would just not do that because we don't do that in groups, so I wanted to be true to form. So just think about somebody that you care about. It might be somebody that has died, it might not be. And then light your candle and place it in the table. And then just think about them and what they mean to you, and how, hopefully you feel blessed that they were in your life. And then just for a moment, we're going to do just a little minute kind of centering. This is what I do with groups. So everybody just shut your eyes, get comfortable, take a couple nice breaths. Breathe in, light, love, healing. Breathing out any stress. Goes for anybody here that's speaking tonight or today and a little nervous like me. Exhaling any stress, fears, and just be present for this hour. Be present and be here and know that you are making a difference today in a child's life that comes to our group, and that they thank you, and the gratitude that I feel for you coming to this luncheon today and for all that you do, and that our families thank you and our volunteers thank you. And I always think too about the people that have died, that they're encircling this room. All the people that we have lost, our kids' people that they have lost, they're surrounding us, and they're very grateful that we're here doing what we're doing today, because they can't do anything at this point. I mean, I still feel like my people, my dad, my sister, my mom helped me, but we physically can help people and be there and listen. So with all that in mind, just try to remember that we're just here to be here, to listen, and to support each other, and I thank you all for taking this time today and being here. So thank you. With that in mind, I'm going to line up today. My next person that I'm going to be, we're going to show a video of the Bass family. It's a video that we did last year, and it's Theron's story, and Dennis is here today, so I'm always grateful to have someone there. And then after that, Tammy Deno is going to come up and speak and tell her story. So sit back and relax and enjoy this video.
I'm Elliot, I'm 9, and my mom died, and that's my brother Oliver. My name is Grace, I'm 6, my mom died by a car accident.
My name is Lily, my brother died of a car crash.
My name's Dylan, this is my grandpa.
My name is Davis. My dad died from lymphoma, leukemia, cancer.
My name is Vincent, I'm 10 years old. My dad died by a brain tumor.
My name is Dominic.
My name is Dakota.
My name is Xavier.
I'm Haley. I'm Nadia.
My name is Wyatt.
My name is Sierra.
I'm Amber.
My name is Karsten.
My name's Wyatt.
My name's Aubrey.
My name is Braden Erickson.
My name is Ashley Burton.
My name is Robbie.
My name is Maya.
And my name is Lance.
And my dad, Jeffrey, died, and my sister, Alyssa, died.
And he died because of a brain tumor.
My grandpa died of a massive heart attack.
My mom died, and her name was Nancy.
From taking sleeping pills at one time.
My mom died of cancer, and my dad died of blood clots.
Our mom died from drugs.
My dad died from a brain tumor. He died of brain cancer.
Suicide 3 weeks ago. My dad died of brain cancer.
From brain cancer.
My mom died from cancer, and my dad died from a heart attack.
He died of cancer.
My dad died from brain cancer.
Best dad ever.
My name is Brendan. I'm 13, and my brother Theron died of suicide.
We lost our son Theron a little over a year and a half ago.
Who was 15 to suicide on April 6, 2014.
I was 11 at the time. It may sound weird, but the thing I miss the most about Theron is him yelling at me to get off the Xbox. When they first bought this property, I wasn't born yet, and I guess My dad always told Theron that they'd have a waterfall back there, and we just never got around to do it, so.
Before losing Theron, I never understood. I never understood what people went through, how hard it was.
I can't imagine what it's like for my son Jordan, losing his best friend. And so as a mom, I worried a lot.
I have a few friends that I are really close to that I talk to, and but they just don't understand. They've never had a significant loss.
We bring our son Brendan to grief group.
It's a great place to talk about your feelings where you won't be judged.
Grief group is just really nice because people there understand what we're going through.
I think one of the best things about being in group is that most of these people have experienced a death of a loved one, and they know what you're going through.
I feel like if we didn't have a place to go like this, that we may not have communicated as well as a family. I have a hard time expressing myself, and I kind of think that Dennis and Brendan do as well. So coming to the group, it really opens up conversation for us that I don't think we would have been able to do otherwise.
The best part about the group is knowing that we're going to get more questions to ask Brendan. It brings up conversation. Brendan comes out and asks us questions after the group, and I just know it's helping him to talk about it.
This group has helped us come together as a family because we talk a lot more about what's going on and how things can change and stuff.
In the adult group, we talk a lot about not just what happened, but what our kids are going through at the present time. Kind of helps you get an idea on how to deal with things and what to talk to the kids about.
So when we first show up at group, they have pizza and different snacks for us to eat before we get into group, and then we go in a circle, say our name, who died, our age, and everything, just talking or playing Jenga or something. When we play Jenga, we play it normal, and then on each block that we pull out, there's a question. Outside of group, I have a personal counselor. Just playing that Jenga game, we've actually came up with some topics. So it was good to talk to somebody the next day about some of the things I was feeling after that group. I feel like everything I say at group will stay at group. That's one of our rules, so.
The group has really helped me. I know it's helped Brendan an awful lot.
So I think it's definitely a worthwhile cause.
I feel like my mom has changed a lot. She can express her feelings better, because before it was just, she could barely even say his name without crying, and now she is talking about him and telling all these cool stories and stuff.
So now she's one of the people that's supporting the new families.
I think about my family and what we have to do to carry on. Not embarrassed to cry in front of anybody anymore. So there's a lot of things that it's just a lot better.
It's we can connect with other people who have felt this way.
No one else has been able to have what the Grief Center offers, and it's been a benefit to everybody that I've ever talked to about it. I think it's something that our community has been needing, and it's here.
I would like to, they're going to go ahead and start serving lunch, and I'm going to introduce Tammy. Tammy was one of our first volunteers, and she came up to me and said, I need to be part of this, and I didn't really realize why, but I do now, and I'm so grateful that she's one of our family, our CGC family. So please give your full attention to Miss Tammy Deno.
Good afternoon. I'm gonna shrink.
Probably take it right out if you want.
I don't know, it might be pretty shaky there. Whoops. I guess I took it right out. I guess we're gonna go with that. How's that? Can you hear me?
my knees.
Good afternoon. I'm so honored and so blessed to be here. As Camille said, I met Camille several years ago at Wake at Midland. Camille was speaking about the Children's Grief Center and their purpose. Camille spoke to my heart and my inner child that day. I couldn't wait to find her afterwards. I think I wanted to tackle her is what I wanted to do and say, pick me. Oops. You're welcome. I couldn't wait to find her that afternoon afterwards and express my desire to be part of such an amazing place. After several conversations with Camille, Camille had said to me, you have a story. I've shared that story with Camille, and today I would like to share it with all of you. I was 2.5 and lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the winter of 1967. Back then, my dad would leave work, pick up my mom and her girlfriend, and then round up the kids, which would be me, my 2 sisters, and the lady's little girl and little boy, and then drive us all home. Less than a mile from home on February 24th, we were hit by a train. My mom and her friend and the toddler died that day at the scene. My 2 sisters and I and the little boy sustained minor injuries. My dad suffered a closed head injury and spent the next 30-some days in a coma. My dad was never the same after that day. Family members used to refer to my dad as before the accident and after the accident. The year following the accidents, my sisters and I were shuffled from relative to relative as my dad recouped. Dad remarried that year, and our family grew by adding a mom, 4 kids, and soon to follow would be 3 more. My dad moved us to Ohio for a fresh start. One of my first memories of a 5-year-old was watching my mom pack herself up and my siblings, and they were leaving the home. I was crying and confused as to why me and my 2 sisters weren't being included. My stepsister yelled to me, I don't know why you're crying. That's not your mom is dead. My big sister, all of the age of 7, punched her. Because that was a secret I was not to be told. My world changed that day. So many questions. Who was my mom? Where was my mom? And who was that lady I'm calling mom? It was made clear to us at that young age we were not allowed to ask any questions about my mom. There was no photos in our home. It was like my mom did not exist. But not being able to ask questions only leads to more. And for me, it led to fantasies. I hadn't been to a cemetery. I hadn't seen a grave. So maybe my mom was still alive. Maybe she would come and save me. A lot of my questions were very simple. What was her date of birth? What was her full name? What color was her hair? What color were her eyes? And did she love us? At the age of 8, my fantasies stopped. We had to appear in court in Ann Arbor because there was a lawsuit filed against the railroad. My dad sat us down and gave us a very brief description of why and how Mom died. After the court hearing, which found the railroad at fault for the accident, we were once again shuffled between our relatives as my dad struggled with life and alcoholism. My sister and I spent, my memory is not fair because I was little, but the next couple years in and out of families' homes. They were under strict orders by my dad not to talk about my mom. And because it was their brother, they held that respect. When the 3 of us were reunited with Dad, we were a little older and a lot more curious. We bonded together to see what clues we could find out. Unfortunately, we would always fail. Even as kids, we soon realized that if you asked about Mom, Dad would be sad and Dad would drink more. But there was always hope. At the beginning of every school year, the school would send home a card, an information card, that the parent would have to fill out. So we would gather these cards and hope that Dad would fill them out, and if he did, we would know Mom's full name and date of birth. Well, my dad didn't share with anybody, not even the school. My dad would write these initials on those information cards and any homework that came home that had to do with family history. NOYDB. After several years and seeing that across many papers, we had to ask what it meant. And it meant none of your damn business. During the years between late elementary and junior high, my stepmother would come in and out of our lives. My dad divorced her and remarried her. The stability in our family was extremely shaky. I now know that too many secrets destroys a family from the inside out. I was fortunate to be sent to live with my aunt and uncle in Saginaw at the age of 16 and a half. My aunt loved my mom and was free to share everything she knew with me, and I soaked it up. There was even photos and film strips that I could watch. I'd gone back to Ohio at the age of 18 and shared everything I had found out with my sisters. It was at that time that we realized we needed to sit Dad down. We needed to talk. My sisters had been married by then and started having their families, so knowing a family history was more important to them than ever. My dad shared as much as he could that day. Because of the head injury and time, my dad's memory was very cloudy. My dad became sober in his mid-50s and was married to a wonderful lady. In my dad's happiness, my dad found peace. My dad took his 3 girls, all in our 30s, to Rhode Island. Rhode Island is where my mom was born and raised. We saw her grave for the first time and walked the same street she did. It was a new beginning for us all. My hopes in sharing my story with you today is that you can see how valuable a grief center is. I can only imagine what the outcome would be if my dad and my sisters and I were able to attend such a place. None of us would have been alone in our guilt or our grief. The Children's Grief Center is a place where the kids are free. They're free to share their stories and talk about their loved ones, express their emotions through play, arts, and crafts. It's a judge-free environment, and it's done with their peers. As a volunteer, I had the opportunity to visit the Dougy Center in Oregon. The Dougy Center is the model for the Children's Grief Center. It was an eye-opening experience, one that I'll cherish forever. The education and the training received there has made me a better volunteer, but it also has made me a healthier adult. It has helped heal my inner child. Being a volunteer is the most rewarding thing I've ever done. I have been rewarded with smiles, hugs, a few stolen pieces of my heart. It's amazing what happens when you're just being a good listener. My mom's name was Marion Lee Hunt. She was born on December 4th, 1941. My mom was born deaf. She had brown hair, green eyes, and dimples when she smiled. Thank you.
I was really interested in volunteering with the Grief Center because I love working with children and also because I've had a close experience with death.
It's good to be volunteering for a program, for an organization that I really believe in.
If the volunteers aren't here, it wouldn't be fun because there'd be no one here to talk to, no one to play games with.
I go home and I just feel so great.
You know, just knowing that I can help somebody.
Volunteers are pretty fun.
I'm able to better the community in some small way. And
we couldn't do it without volunteers. Volunteers are crucial to the Grief Center.
I am glad that I'm able to touch these kids' lives in a way that I can.
As a board member, it's been a wonderful opportunity to work with a really great group of people that have the interest of the kids in mind.
I don't think it would be the Grief Center without the volunteers. The volunteers are definitely it's kind of like a house. You need a foundation to build a house, and those volunteers are the foundation to this house.
My favorite part of training was learning about the different ways that people grieve, learning about how this organization touches the community.
My favorite part of training was talking about reflective listening.
My favorite part of training was the peer group support. I would have thought I would have had to have a friend. And so I came without any friends, and now I'm leaving with 15.
And sitting in these training sessions, even as an adult, you learn there is a common thread in there's peer support for even the adults that are volunteering.
We went through a lot of that coursework, but it was also very hands-on. We learned about reflective listening, so in a way that you can really absorb what the other person is saying, and in reflecting back in a way that you're really listening and not just talking. And so we also worked on creative projects and ways to express our grief and our loss, practicing a group setting and candle lighting ceremony, just kind of acting things out.
I would say the thing that surprised me quite a bit was learning more about death by suicide, a way to frame it that is not quite so blameful.
And that's one of the best things about volunteering here. We don't need the answers. So that was very good for me.
I was fascinated by the idea that there was this place that children could go and exchange thoughts and talk about their loved one. Coming across something where kids are comfortable and can grow and just be healthy, and it be okay to talk about their loved one. And to interchange and know that they're not the only ones out there.
Super rewarding personally for me because the weekend of my training for the Grief Center, my grandma died, the day after my training. So just doing this for me has been a really rewarding experience.
I'm prepared and ready and eager.
I think that anybody who is even remotely interested will take something away from it. And if you can come your first time, you won't stop coming back because you love it.
So I would highly suggest that anybody who's thinking about doing it, just to go to the training, check it out, and see if you like it there, and I'm sure that they will.
The funnest thing about volunteering is playing with the kids in the high energy room or even in the low energy room and playing dress up, hula hooping, singing, just to name a few.
When my mom died 2 years ago, I remember coming back here and going into that classroom, and all of a sudden the kids were doing for me what I'd been doing for them. They let me cry, they let me be quiet. It was just wonderful to see the full circle of what I was putting out now is coming back. And it's coming back through 5-year-olds and 6 and 7-year-olds.
If the volunteers didn't exist, this wouldn't be an option, and this is an awesome organization, so I am glad that we have as many volunteers as we do.
I can't find anybody to talk to at my school and stuff. It's nice to come here and talk to the volunteers.
I like the atmosphere, the people, the volunteers are great. The volunteers are honestly what keeps me coming sometimes. There are just those days where my dad's death gets me down, but it's heartwarming to know that the volunteers are here. They're always here for me, so I really appreciate it.
So Mark Plant of ImageWorks does all of our video work, and he does an amazing job. And you'll notice all the really cool stuff, like the pool table and the foosball ball. Salvation Army is gracious enough to provide space for us, and Messiah Lutheran as well. So between those two sites, we have amazing resources for our kids. My next person that I'm going to introduce, I met her. She came to do volunteer work through SVSU and volunteer with us, and her name is Brianna Roop, and she's an amazing young woman. And she has a story of her own. And so Monday night, she actually, this last couple months, lives in Detroit, and she's been driving up just to come on Monday nights to group. I mean, ice storm, and I'm like, you call me when you get home, because she's driving back. And then this week she showed up a little bit late, and I mean, some of my teens literally ran across the room and jumped into her arms. I mean, the kids just lit up when she walked in. So she does that to my life and to many kids. So please give your full attention to my sweet Brianna. And she's a little nervous, so, you know, just be who you are, because you're good at that. Let me see it. Hold it close. Yeah. Oh. Okay, I'm okay. All right, so like Camille said, my name is Brianna Roop, and I'm a volunteer here at the Children's Grief Center. And I did start my volunteer work here because I needed the hours for school to graduate. But along the time that I did it, it's became so much more than that, and it's a part of my life and a part of who I became over time, because it's been 3 years now. It's been 3 years since I've been volunteering. And I can't even begin to explain within like this time limit that I have of all the experiences that I've learned and everything I can take away from it. But it's just been a life-changing experience, and you kind of have to be in the situation to understand what it's like. So the reason I chose the Grief Center to volunteer at is because I've been battling grief since I was a child as well. My dad died when I was 8 years old. And so it's been about 13 years now. And there was nothing, kind of like Tammy said, there was nothing in like my schooling or my district that helped in that kind of way. My family sought out like counseling, and nothing was helping. Family counseling didn't help, and it just wasn't handling it, and the pain was still there. So along the years, you know, it's been 13, so I've had to come up with ways to try to control it, because I realize that it's always going to be there, but you can try to manage it better. So, like Annette said in the video, she said that when her mom died and she came back, everybody was there and then they were helping her, and that's kind of how I felt too. So when I started the first day, I was like a nervous wreck. I was like prepared to like cry and just like be a mental breakdown and never come back. But that didn't happen. I was a wreck, and I did cry, and I was a whole basket case, but that was the reason why I came back. Sorry, guys. Thank you. So, like Camille said, my kind of babies is a teen group, and every week is like so challenging but so like inspiring at the same time with them, because they always have something going on in their lives that either reflect like how they're grieving or improves how they're grieving, and it helps me take away from that too, because like I said, it goes day by day, and it's always there, but it does become more manageable. So volunteering for the Grief Center has definitely made me a better person all throughout. And the biggest thing that I learned throughout the whole thing is that everybody does grieve differently, and it never stops, but that's okay. I know, it's hard to follow a thing when you write it, because it just doesn't work for me either. You did great. So a little quick story about Brianna. So she came to me one day and she said, guess what? I met this woman at work and I told her all about us. And about 6 months before that, I was at Toys R Us buying toys, Legos, lots of Legos. And when I went up to cash out, they always asked me, so do you have a daycare? I was like, oh no, actually I have a grief group. And so I'm always like, I give them the card, I go, I hope you never need me, but in case you ever do, you'll be glad you have somebody to send your people to. So I get a call finally, and it's a woman, and she's like, tells me the story. Her husband died, she's got 3 boys, and she says, I said, well, I always ask, so how'd you find out about us? She said, well, it's kind of funny. I was going to buy cigarettes at Speedway, and the girl carded me. and she wasn't very old. And I was kind of a little upset. I went out to my car. When I came back, I pulled out my driver's license and your card. My boss at Toys R Us gave me your card, and it fell out on the counter. And the girl behind was like, "Hey, I volunteer there." You know, I kind of told some of Bridget's story, but she'll tell you her view because it's always a little different. But and then Brianna was like taking paperwork to work for the next time Bridget came in. You know, so that's how this happens. So, I mean, you guys wear your little pins, and somebody says, "Ooh, that's pretty." Give it to them. Say, "You know what? This is from the Children's Grief Center, and this is what they do." And that's how this works. That's how this room happened. Because I'm in the grocery store, and somebody walks up and says, "Oh, that's a nice pin." And the next thing I know, they're volunteering for us. So with that, I want to introduce my next. They're going to come up as a family. And I adore them. And they've been coming since the beginning. They come from Saginaw. Go ahead, come on up, you guys. This is the Villarreal family. You're all a little nervous. It's scary up here. You know, there's a lot of you out there, so, you know, just do what you did last time. You can go whichever way you want to go.
I figured it out already.
Okay, cool. And just hold it close so they won't be able to hear you.
All right.
All right, hi, my name is Bridget Villarreal, and I have 3 sons that I bring to the Children's Grief Center. Dominic, he's 16, Xavier, he's 13, and Vincent's 11. I lost my husband, their dad, from a brain tumor on September 21st, 2014. He had brain surgery on September 16th, the day after Xavier's 11th birthday. He passed away 10 days after finding out he had a brain tumor. Life changed so fast for me and my boys. We didn't know where to turn. We were so lost in our grief until we found out about the Children's Grief Center. If it wasn't for Brianna, one of the volunteers, I don't know where we'd be today. I had a lady that I used to work with at Toys R Us, and she lived in Midland, and she gave me the card for the Children's Grief Center. I stuck it in my wallet, and that's where it stayed for months. Until I went into Speedway to buy a pack of cigarettes, and the young girl carded me. I was crabby that I had to go get my license out of the car to buy cigarettes, and they were for my mom. Out came the card for the Children's Grief Center, and the young girl asked me if I attend there. I said no. She said I volunteer there. Weeks went by, and I ended up going back into the same Speedway, and sure enough, I ran into Brianna again. This time, she had all the paperwork for me and everything about the Children's Grief Center. By this time, it definitely seemed like it was meant to be for our family, so we attended our first group. We started last year and have not missed a group since. Everyone from the volunteers to all the families who attend are now like family to us. And I just want to say special thanks to Camille, Stacy, Joanne, Brianna, and Jan for always making us feel so welcomed and loved. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dominic. I'm 16, and the reason I come to this grief group is because 2 years ago my dad passed away from a brain tumor. And also last year in February, my best friend committed suicide. This group allows you to talk about how you feel and express yourself through any way you can. And I think this group can change people's lives. It has made a big impact in my life. After my dad passed away, I was quiet and didn't want to talk about my feelings, and I shut people out. Thanks to this grief group, I feel safe that I know I have someone who knows what I'm going through and someone to talk to about my feelings. All the volunteers have helped me out so much with the grieving process, and without them I wouldn't be the way I am today. The volunteers understand the way I feel, and they help us as much as they can. So thanks to all the volunteers who have helped me. Also thanks to this grief group for everything it has done for me.
Hi, my name is Vincent, and I'm 11 years old. I turn 12 tomorrow.
At the Children's Grief Center, we have a few people some like to call volunteers, but I like to think of as family. They do a lot with us, like play games with us, help us with our grief, but most of all, they listen to us. My best friend in group, or I like to think of as my BFIG, is Joanne. I think she is a good listener and a great friend.
Hello, my name is Xavier and I'm 13 years old. Most people don't understand what it's like to lose someone, but when they do, they understand a little more than they need to. So when they hopefully find the Children's Grief Center, they help with this newly acquired grief. Although it never goes away, they can help deal with it and fight the pain that may be there. And the volunteers are very nice, and I think of them as my family. And that's all I got. So.
So I told the boys, we have 8 rules in group. One of them is I pass. And you'd think that they would use that a lot. Sometimes Xavier uses it. So I told them, if you want to go up and to say I pass, you can. And so just the fact that they all shared, it's huge. The courage. So we're going to show you a little video in a minute. It's our thank you video. The last 2 years we've played it as you guys are like rustling and doing stuff and writing checks and you kind of miss it. And this video, I've watched it 50 times and I still cry. That's me talking. It's weird. But we kind of took on the Dr. Seuss quote of to the world you may be one person, but to one person you may be the world. And I'll tell you, each one of you, what you do, just by showing up today. So we have these 4 T's. So Blessed Sacrament's my church, and they had the 3 T's, time, talent, treasure. Well, the Grief Center has those 3, and then we have a 4th one, which is tell. And so you guys have done time by coming for the hour today. Some of you will do the treasure. Some of you have talent and have already been part of that part of ours, and you might think, oh, I can do this, I'll come help. And then you all have the T now. You're all responsible for our T. You know about us, so you can tell someone about us. And so we're going to show our little 2-minute thank you video, and then Jim Nigro, my vice president of my board, is going to come up and do our closing. So. We'd like to thank you for helping us this last year and supporting us. To all the foundations, the organizations, the individual donors, we thank you. To all our committed volunteers, our group facilitators, our sewing craft warriors, our clerical help, our computer wizards, we thank you. To our courageous kids and their families for attending group, we honor you and we thank you. And lastly, to all of you, thank you for your support.
We love group! Thanks for the Legos! Thanks to all the people of the Holiday Wishes Gala. Thank you, Gerstacker Foundation. Thank you, Dow Comical.
Thank you, Blessed Sacrament.
Thank you, Strosacker Foundation.
Thanks, Salvation Army.
Thank you, Midland Area Community Foundation, for giving us these great toys. Thank you, Quasi Quanis. Thank you, Midland Young Professionals, for the great t-shirts.
Thanks, Messiah Lutheran, for the great Gaga Ball Pit.
Thank you, Memorial Presbyterian.
Thank you, Zoe Club. Thanks for the toys. Thank you, 100 Club.
Thanks, Spirit Hockey.
Thank you, QRP.
Thank you, Alden and Veda Dow Foundation, for your support.
Thanks, Shelter House, for the new dress-up clothes. Thank you, Midland Noon Exchange Club.
Thanks, Midland Noon Rotary, for the What If Monsters. Now that you've seen how much the kids appreciate everything you've done, I'd like to leave you with a few words from one of our favorite authors, Dr. Seuss. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world.
Thanks, everybody, for being the world to us.
So just quickly, it. So we are starting groups in Saginaw in October at the Mid-Michigan Children's Museum. So we'll be having a fundraiser just like this in October on the 10th at the Horizon Center. So if any of you have businesses in Saginaw and you want to sponsor a table, that would be great. We also, after that, for 3 days, we're bringing in Donna Sherman of the Dougie Center, where Stacy and I were trained, and Tammy and Joanne. And she's coming here to do a training for 3 days so that I will have up to 20 people that now know how to train volunteers. So it's kind of like my plan B. If something happens, you know, I'll tell you, if I had $1 for every time I heard the word sustainable, we would be sustainable. But, you know, I have to have a backup plan. So I'm basically, by bringing Donna in, we're going to be teaching this region how to fish. And so people will know how to take care of kids no matter what happens to the Children's Grief Center. So it's very exciting. The other project that we have in the works is the Big Give. Thankfully, granted us a big grant, and we have created 40 so far. They're Good Grief bags, and they'll be available for all the schools to lend out to families who might need them. And that's like an ongoing program. We have a sample of one of the bags on the back table if you want to check it out on your way out. But for all of you that are involved in Rotary, Kawasi Kiwanis, Midland Foundation, all of you, I mean, I can't name them all, but I'm just so grateful because without all of you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. I did miss, we have another volunteer from Davenport, Ellen Strickland. Ellen Strickland and Ashley have been doing our human resources and all that stuff, so that's been great. And then also the Chippewa Nature Center. The benches you saw in the bass video, those are out there, and we planted 100 trees a couple years ago, and it's a wonderful place to just go sit and be still. And so we're just grateful to them too as well. So here's Jim Nigro.
Hey, Camille. Watching all of you while she's talking, this is a beautiful group.
Oh, they're amazing.
Look at how beautiful this group is, and you're probably thinking I'm schmoozing you before I ask you to take your checkbooks out. And a little bit. Before we wrap up, there's one more special person we need to thank, and she's a person who is so quick to give credit to everybody else. But I'm here to tell you, if it weren't for the vision, the dedication, the passion, the amazing creativity of our own executive director, Camille Jure-Snitschke, we would not be anywhere near where we are as an organization. Thank you. Absolutely. On behalf of the volunteers, your staff, and my fellow board members, we have a little something, something. You're just an amazing person. You're an angel on earth, and you're making a difference in you. Thanks, Jeff Hurt, fellow board member. So our operating funds come mainly from small grants and big hearts from people like you. Simply put, we couldn't do what we're doing without individual contributions from individuals within our community. I think you saw today that the need is real, and we're filling a void that no other organization in this town is fulfilling. Sad to say, the need is growing, so more than ever, we need you. Here's the ask, folks. Could you please help us to make sure that we continue to mend hearts for these courageous children and their loving families? Envelopes are at your tables. Your table captains will assist if you need. There's a big envelope that says money in here. We'd so much appreciate your financial support, and it would allow us to continue this vital mission. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. That wraps up the program. I can't thank you enough, as Camille said, for your time, your treasure. Just your interest in being here speaks volumes. Thanks. Have a wonderful, blessed day. That's the program, folks. Appreciate it.